What's up, everybody? It's Alex from Heavy New York, invading California for Namm 2020, and we return with Chaney of Entheos. Thank you so much for your time.
Dude, of course. Happy to be back here with you, talking about metal.
Absolutely.
Love it.
Awesome. So, I know that you're working on some new music now, which you're releasing independently. Are you kind of making a direct continuation of what we heard on Dark Future, or is this record like going to be kind of going outside the box a little bit more?
I think that for our band, like in every record, we find ourselves a little more and we key in a little more to that Entheos sound. So I think Dark Future was very much a part of that. And this, while it is not to me a continuation of Dark Future, it's definitely honing more in on the Entheos sound.
Awesome.
So,
was there like a preconceived idea on how you wanted the follow-up to Dark Future to sound like, or was there like improvising involved?
a lot of improvising, that's what we are best at, but we always talk about what we want to do on the next stuff. Like, you can write a bunch of music and then go out on the road and realize that it might not be going over in the same way that you kind of thought it would, or just we like to see movement in our crowds, and we like to provide sections for there to be like headbanging, and we're really good at confusing people. So going into this, that is one thing that we've been trying to not do as much, is confuse people. So that was talked about, but more or less, we just kind of roll with it. We just kind of roll with whatever comes out, and that's what we've been doing. So, yeah.
As somebody who has seen you live with the Contortionists and on the Allegiant Rings of Saturn tour and, with Rivers of Nile, it's always a completely different experience than listening to the album. For you, is it a different energy playing live than songwriting, or is there maybe a similar method behind the madness?
I mean, playing live for me is my bread and butter. I grew up playing local shows. So did Naveen, so did Travis. It's like, that's what we do. So playing live is a different monster. Your energy is coming across in a much different way, because on an album, it's my voice, that's it. But live, you experience my energy, which is different than when you're just listening to a record. So there are a lot of things that I prefer about playing live, but there are also a lot of things that I prefer about being in the studio. Live is just, it's a performance. It's like being on a sitcom show and you're doing everything live, and you're rolling with whatever you put out there. In the studio, you can perfect things and make them. With a live performance, you have to roll with it. And so it's like, I don't know, it's just a different experience, and we bring different things to both places, but we all definitely thrive in both places as well. So.
Do you need to hear music in order to come up with lyrics, or is there a time where maybe you have like a concept in mind and maybe that could determine the outcome of the music itself?
It's a little bit of both. I write a lot of poetry, so when we're not on album cycle, I'm writing stuff all the time. That was my first love, writing. However, when I hear like a demo, the skeleton of a song, it could evoke a different emotion in me than the lyrics that I came in with. So things will happen before the writing process begins lyrically, but they also change a lot over the course of the writing process, because I like emotional music. I like the parts to be like that, and just when you go in and kind of key in on different phrasings and things that you sonically want to come across, it's going to change the words a little bit. So it's just a mixture of both.
And I've noticed many different emotions, especially in Dark Future, like a song like A Sea of Symmetry was very different from a song like The World Without Us or something like that. So I'd imagine that there was many different types of emotions and many different subject matters addressed as well, right?
Absolutely. It's definitely not a thematically conceptual album. However, it all is emotional and comes from your hearing me talk over a 6-month period of time when I'm writing a record, so it's, how much your emotions can change in that time, so mine do too, and one day I'm feeling really high about something, and one day I'm feeling fucking low about something else, and it all just shows up in my lyrics. So
yeah, that's something I've always was curious about with songwriting, because if you're trying to make a song that really captures a moment but you work on it over an extended period of time, could that maybe make the moment lost?
I don't know. That's something that I also kind of wrestle with. For me, it's I'm focusing on one song at a time when I'm writing a record, so most of the emotional things that I'm putting in are just in that one song. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like it's just there. So I don't really feel like it gets lost. I guess it just depends on who you are and how you channel things. Yeah, I don't. I haven't had that problem, but I do wonder that for other people. I don't, you never know. It's like everyone has a different process and a different way that they think about everything. Some people are writing lyrics like they're a book. I'm not necessarily doing that. Every like way of writing lyrics is actually really interesting to me for that purpose.
And mentioning, because you say you write all the time, so do you look for inspiration, or could like inspiration just come out of nowhere sometimes?
I'm Whoa. I'm literally inspired by everything all the time. Like, this Namm experience is probably... Something going on? Oh. This Namm experience is probably going to inspire me in some way. You know what I mean? It's like, dude, when you watch a movie, that can be inspiration. When you listen to music, that can be inspiration. Seeing artwork and shit like that. Talking to people. It's kind of hard to not be inspired by everything, to me. How do you have that same experience with finding inspiration?
Well, for me as an artist, sometimes like I have like the creative urge. So even though I'm not inspired to do it, I just have that thing where I would need to let it out. So
isn't that urge kind of inspiration in itself?
yeah, to an extent. And then there's times where I have a vision in my head, and I just like I keep a canvas next to my bed all the time.
Very
like
smart.
so.
I kind of do, like, I have a notebook that I write in all the time because there are those moments. But for me, like I just said, it's like those are flashes of inspiration where it's like, let's get some shit out while I have this juice going. But there are, that's not like saying that there aren't times that I sit down and I'm just totally uninspired to do anything, because that happens a lot as well.
Doing interviews for me is actually what also spawns a lot of ideas. So.
Oh, dude, I bet you get to talk to people that you want to talk to all the time. You're hand choosing all of these people that you're interviewing, so it's like they're people who you're obviously interested in some way, and you want to hear about their point of view. So it makes sense why that would inspire you to talk to people and to get the way that an interview works. You're asking all of these cool questions that you probably actually really want to know, but you know that other people want to know too. And when you hear people talk about stuff that you enjoy, it's going to inspire you. So, yeah.
And that brings me to the final question, and the hardest question that I ask every artist. How do you know when a song is done?
I feel that art is truly never finished. You kind of just have to be like, this is done. You could work on it forever, man. I could fucking go in and I could go back to Dark Future. I could go back to our Primal EP. I would change the whole goddamn thing. You know, it's like, it's not done, but it's not done. It never is. It's just a matter of being like, I'm done working on this.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I feel like if you have a really good album and it's amazing, you know, don't be like Street Fighter and just constantly release the same thing with like different editions.
You're right. And it's also like music also has a way of telling you, I'm done being worked on.
Yeah.
I'm the song, nothing else. I mean, there have been times when we've tried to like tack riffs onto the end of a song or in a song, and they just didn't work. And we're like, the song is better off without this shit, and it's kind of already done. We're just like overanalyzing it. So, yeah, it's never done, but you gotta let it go.
So before we go, I'd like to thank you so much for your time. Is there just a time frame you like to? Is there any shows or tours coming up you'd like to promote, and maybe a time frame we can be expecting the new Entheos album?
As far as touring, there's nothing I can say yet. We're definitely going to be on tour this year. As far as the new music, we're going to be putting music out a lot sooner than people expect.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it.
Oh, yeah, me too.
What are the odds like something was just posted as we've
0%.
Everybody, Chaney of Entheos, new music coming very soon. This is Alex from Heavy New York. We'll see you next time.